Hi, I'm Maura Gamble from Our Permaculture Life, and today we're going to be talking about different sorts of edible greens that you can grow in your garden that require pretty much no effort whatsoever. They're perennial greens and they just provide so much nutrition without any effort whatsoever. I want to show you 5 greens today that I use regularly in my garden. The first one is this one here. It's called Suriname spinach, and you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers. Yesterday there was beautiful little pink flowers on here. They've just about finished now here. And you can also eat the stems. So this plant is very easy to take cuttings from. Simply you just take a snip like this, take off the bottom leaves and put it in the ground, and you'll get another cutting from that. This plant though does self-seed a bit, so if you are in a warmer climate it's probably best to keep an eye on it. It could kind of spread out a bit. But what I really like in the subtropics is this plant provides just summer-round greens that are available, and you can grow it in partial shade, so you can stick it underneath a food forest context, or you can have it snuggled here in amongst the vegetable garden, and it fills out the space when the annuals in the garden are really just not working because it's just too hot. Another plant that I really value in my garden is the one here in front of us. This is called Brazilian spinach. Now, Brazilian spinach is one of the plants I've always called my happy plant because it always looks shiny and upright. It doesn't wilt. It's really super a drought-tolerant plant. If it's a bit dry and hot, the leaves will kind of go a bit smaller, but when it's really nice and moist they get bigger. So the bigger leaves are the ones I use as salad alternatives, and the smaller leaves I use in everything from from quiches to omelettes and soups and stir fries. Same with this one. I use sometimes the young leaves in a salad, but mostly I use it as a cooked green. Both of these plants do have a little bit of oxalic acid in them, so they are better to cook. There's one that I want to show you next, however, that has far less oxalic acid than even spinach or chard. Sweet potato vine is a fantastic green to eat. It's really popular in many parts of the world, in Asia and Africa and the Pacific, but in many countries in Europe and the States and Australia too, many people don't know that this is edible. The young leaves I choose all the time, and I include them in pretty much every meal that I have a leafy green ingredient, whether it be, again, the soups and the stir fries and the curries, all those kinds of things. Now, the young shoot is also edible, but my understanding when I've been looking into this is that both the mature leaves and the young leaves have nutrients that are really valuable. And some research has shown too now that the leaf is actually more nutritious than the root. So I grow it in the garden both for its leaf and for its root. But the thing is, if you want to get more root crop, you need to plant it every year. So I have some patches I do that, but in other areas I allow it to be a green living mulch and then just harvest the leaves. And as you can see, there's an abundance of leaf. There's no way that I could possibly eat as much greens as this vine provides, and quite often it starts to tumble over the wall like this. So as I come past and I just try and trim this back, this is the bit that I eat. It's the trimmings. So it's an amazing plant. Another green that I really enjoy eating and I really enjoy having in the garden is this cranberry hibiscus. I called it a green, but it's actually a purple, and because it's got the purple in it, it's got really high antioxidants. It's more of a sorrely flavour, lemony, tangy flavour. So again, this one is more high in oxalic acid, so it does need to be a cooked green, only lightly cooked like the other ones too. But it adds great colour into your food and into the garden, and I like it because it adds structure into the garden too, and places that the little birds can come and hide and be part of my pest management strategy. So this is called cranberry hibiscus, and again, this is one of the plants that I really highly value in an environment when it's really dry, and so it's a drought tolerant plant that can cope with the humidity as well. Most of us, when we're planting pumpkins, focus on the pumpkin itself. But did you know that actually the leaves of the pumpkin vine are super edible as well? Now, I didn't know this for a long time, and I always imagined that these prickly pumpkin leaves were not part of the food of this plant. But when I discovered that they were, it completely transformed the way that I think about pumpkin. All of a sudden, all of these vines that ramble over the garden I see as food. So there's an enormous abundance. Even these vines that come off the edge of the terrace, I could start to harvest all these leaves. Now all you need to do to soften the leaves of these prickly pumpkin leaves, steam them for a few minutes. But I just use them as I do with any other green. I can chop them up and add them into all sorts of foods. Or you can, as I say, steam them and then use them as a gluten-free, low-carb wrap them around some rice and some quinoa and vegetables and dip them in a sauce, and they're absolutely delicious. So again, there's an enormous abundance of food here, of something that's actually been a self-seeding vegetable in my garden. And you know how big pumpkin vines grow. There's no way that you could possibly eat as much food that provides in a home garden. So the 5 plants that I've talked about today, we have the Suriname spinach, so this grows as an abundant green. We have the Brazilian spinach, which is available year-round in a subtropical garden, and that's got so much food on it. We have the sweet potato vine leaves, the cranberry hibiscus, and the pumpkin. So with these 5 leaves, I can pretty much self-sufficient in greens for much of the year, and it's just so easy. I don't need to do anything to these plants to make them grow. They need very little water. They're resilient in all different kinds of humidity and dryness, and so I thank these plants for being in my garden and for being so very robust and helpful. And I encourage you to try something a little bit different than the standard, spinaches and silver beets, because these plants are available and they are so healthy and so vibrant and so abundant. So thanks for watching. I'm Morag Gamble from Our Permaculture Life. If you've liked this video, you can hit subscribe and get all the different films that I put out on a regular basis. Also, I have a newsletter that comes out every couple of weeks, and it links to all the different articles and programs that I'm running. And don't forget too, I have a Patreon account. You can check out the link here on the site. So thanks again. I'll see you next time.